Namaste. Bhai aur behno. Is varsh ke Cork Diwali mein mukya titi bankar mein bahut garv aur khushi mehsus kar raha hai. इंडिया और आयरलैंड का संबंध बहुत पुराना है और इस अवसर पर हम यहाँ कॉर्क में दिवाली भारतीयों और आयरिश समुदाय के साथ मनाया जा रहा है। Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to be invited to speak at this celebration of Diwali in the city of Cork. I've been asked to say a little bit about the history of Cork and India, and then perhaps into the future. So connections between Cork and India go back a very long way, back to the 18th century in fact, and they resulted from the expanding British Empire network of commerce, trade and migration. When the Indian travel writer Abu Talib Khan visited Cork in 1799, he was very impressed and wrote glowingly of this extensive sheet of water, the verdure of the hills, the comfortable appearance of the town on one side, and the romantic cottages on the other. The relationship between University College Cork and India goes back to the foundation of Queen's College in 1845. And during its first 75 years, the university was a major centre for the education of colonial civil servants, doctors and engineers, many of whom served in India. UCC graduates had a great impact on the administrative, educational and professional landscape of India. For example, medical graduates such as Edwin Butler, who was the imperial scientist at the Agricultural Research Institute studying crop diseases, Charles Donovan, a professor of physiology at Madras Medical College, Edward Cotter, Commissioner of Public Health, the Government of India, and R.W.G. Hingston, who was the medical officer to Mallory's 1924 Mount Everest expedition. So knowledge also flowed in the opposite direction, from India to Cork. In the mid-1850s, Queen's College Cork offered specialised courses on Indian geography, history, law and languages, including classes in Sanskrit. And professors were recruited to teach tropical medicine and the latest advances in public health. Queen's College also accumulated, which it still has, a large library of Indian books and a museum collection donated by alumni from the university, which provided students with a knowledge of India's diverse cultural, linguistic and religious traditions. By the end of the 19th century, the connectedness was even felt in the rural communities, and I don't know if any of you have visited the Anglican Church of the Ascension in Timoleague, which has a wonderful, elaborate mosaic, which is donated by the Maharaja of Gwalior, commissioned in memory of his personal physician, Martin Crofts, who was also a Queen's College graduate and an officer in the Indian Medical Service. Of course, as the two countries took their separate paths towards independence in the first half of the 20th century, the ties between the two were diminished, although there were still very strong ties at the government level, with Eamon de Valera visiting India and Prime Minister Nehru coming to Ireland. More recently, the links between Ireland and India have again been strengthened very much by the recent visit of Prime Minister Modi to Dublin. Today, University College Cork is still an outward-looking university, and we have established a growing connection with India in research and in education. In the past few years, we've established connections in Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, Pune, Kerala, Hyderabad, Karnal and elsewhere. And we're looking to make those connections stronger every day. In the past year alone, over 25 UCC academic staff went on visits to India to carry out research. We now have over 150 Indian students on the campus, 50 of whom are pursuing PhD studies. And we're in the process of setting up a study abroad program to allow Irish students to visit India. There are lots of exciting connections with business also, and tomorrow we're welcoming the CEO of an Indian company who is interested in coming to UCC to consider the possibility of setting up his company in Cork, and perhaps looking to see if our students would meet his expectations. And it'd be no surprise to anyone here to find that we find our Indian students to be an enormously vibrant group who make a huge contribution to the academic and cultural life of the university. They're hardworking and persistent in their studies, and outside the classroom, they interact display a great love of celebration, music and dance, storytelling, calendar, enjoyed as much by Irish students as by their Indian friends. Indian students now have the possibility, once they've graduated, of having a stay-back visa for 1 year, and we think that may well be extended. So Indian students, there are possibilities to work in Ireland and even to make their homes here should they choose to do so. There are also increasing moves, as I said earlier, to bring India and Ireland closer together on the economic front, and particularly so that Irish companies, particularly for example food companies, can do business in India, and Indian companies can come to do business in Ireland. And thinking of Ireland perhaps as a stepping off point into Europe. So just one final thing before I finish, and it was mentioned earlier, I'm sure that many of you have heard that this is the bicentenary year of George Boole, and we've had many events on the campus celebrating his legacy as the forefather of the digital age. A delegation from UCC led by President Murphy, and which I'll be going on, and which I'm very pleased to say that Johanna will be joining us, will go in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll hold an event celebrating Boole, which is co-hosted by the Indian Institute of Technology in Madras and the Indian Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Chennai. I believe that the future for Ireland and for India to grow closer together is very bright. And I strongly believe that with our shared history, the opportunities for closer ties between Cork and India are limitless. Arme Ash Sabe Lokoko, Diwali ki hardik shubhkam nahe, dena chata ho. So, in conclusion, it remains for me to wish you all a very happy Diwali. Dhanyabad.
Thank you, sir, for addressing the audience.